Hi everybody, this is Roll Hunter. I've got my magnet, my scale, my scope, and the copper cup. So we are going to be hunting Canadian pennies. Hey folks, this is James and you're watching my channel Roll Hunter, and we've got Canadian pennies to hunt. I got 20 rolls. I'm really excited about this because some of these I got in a previous group of pennies, and I didn't realize I had some. These ones that are taped on both ends, that's from the same hunt where we found the US silver dime and the steel cents. We got 2 steel cents in a hunt not that long ago, and I believe they were in these taped up rolls. So we're actually going to start with those, hoping we get some old stuff and some goodies. But we won't know until we get into the rolls, so let's get hunting. Roll number 1, our first find is going to be a foreign. It's going to be a 1974 Denver minted United States cent, and it looks like we are going to have some other US. I can see a US edge in here too, which we should totally expect being here in Canada. Still in that roll, we're going to get our first older Canadian cent here. We see Queen Elizabeth, and it is a very common 1964. Very next coin, we've got a coin under the scope here. This is a 1979. You know we like to scope all of them to see if we get any of that die deterioration doubling, and check that out. Look at that. All at the top of this 9, across the bottom and the side of the 7. This 9, lots on the base. So we've got the double 979, and this is exhibiting some really significant die deterioration. A really cool coin. Same roll, another 79. It doesn't look like much. It's got a little bit of grunge or damage on it, but when I put it under the scope, we're going to see again, we've got another die deteriorated 9 here. So this is the double 9 in the 1979. Very cool. Well, I had a good feeling about these rolls, and I was right. We are in roll number 2, another one of those taped rolls, and we've got a wheat cent, and it looks older, but you never know. Let's see. It's a 1944. Pretty common, but we'll take it. A wheat cent in our Canadian roll hunt. Well, same roll, and we're going to have another one. Here we go. What is it going to be? Another 1944. Same roll, we got another American. It's a 1960 Denver minted cent. We want to check to see if it's the large date or the small date. Let's take a peek. Okay, and it appears that this is a very common 1960 large date. One of the easiest ways to tell, I find, is to look at the 9. If the 9 is sort of curving to the side like this, it's the large date. If it's pointed and directed down, it's the small date. This is the 1960D large date. Very common. Same roll, we got a really nice looking 1981. And you know I keep the nicer Canadian cents, the nicer copper ones. So this one we'll hold on to for sure. And the very last penny of that roll is our second laureate portrait. It's a 1961. And we've also found a handful of shinier, newer pennies. Nothing newer than 1999 though. All of these here are 97, 98, and 99. And I just held aside the best of the 1999s right there. It looked really, really nice. First coin of roll number 3, it's a 2003 and a really interesting year in Canadian pennies. We have the older portrait and the newer portrait this year. We also have steel and zinc pennies. So the one we want to look for is a 2003 with the P composition mark. So that would signify that it's multiply plated steel. And we've got the newer portrait. So this isn't going to be the one, but there was one with a P composition mark that wasn't actually magnetic. So this one, of course, if I take the magnet too, it's going to stick. But there were some 2003s that were made with zinc that accidentally had that composition mark. We continue to find some US cents. This is a 1992, and I already scoped it. There's a very rare close AM in the 1992, but this is not it. This is the regular standard wide AM. All right, we got another shot. This is a 2003. I already looked at it. It is the older portrait. It's got the P composition mark, so this should absolutely be magnetic. If it's not, we've got a keeper, and of course it is. A little further back, we got our second 1961 laureate portrait of the hunt. Roll 4, and we've got our third 1979 deteriorated die. That one is going to be the double 7-9. You can see it on just on the tip of the base of the 7, but definitely along that 9. Roll 5 has had some newer coins, including this 2021 Denver US cent. I'll have to check to see if I even have this one yet. Roll 6 is going to give us our third wheat cent here. This time It's a 1955 Denver. And I just threw it under the scope here, and this 1955 Denver is going to be a pretty good find because that 9 has a die chip right in the middle of it. So it is raised up. It's not damage, it's not a gouge. That's a really cool find. A 1955 with a die chip. Really cool. Roll number 7 is going to have a lot of shiny edges, just a few that might be older copper. It looks like we're going to have a lot of steel and zinc in this one. Roll number 8 is going to have our 4th Young Elizabeth, and what's it going to be this time? Our first 1963. Same roll will make it number 5. This time it's going to be a 61 with some damage on it. Roll 10 is going to have a 1960. I couldn't quite make it out first because it's got this dark patina on it. Not really sure what that's all about, but it's a laureate portrait for the board. Roll 11 is going to have our second 1963, and it's got some kind of environmental damage and toning of some sort. And yeah, but it is a laureate portrait 1963. I'm in roll number 12, and I've got two 2011s, in both in pretty nice shape that I got in this roll. And they are identical in appearance. Both are sporting the same bust of the Queen with the Royal Canadian Mint logo on the obverse. And I'll flip that over so you can see that. But here's an example of how the Mint was producing these in 2 different metal compositions. The one on the left has a zinc core and is not magnetic. The one on the right, a steel core and is magnetic. Very cool. There are varieties in almost every year in the modern years where you can find both zinc and steel. And sometimes they put the wrong material, use the wrong planchet with a composition mark that should have indicated it was one or the other and when it wasn't. So you'll want to keep your eye out for all of the different varieties. We're in roll 15. Things are slowing down a bit, and but I'm bringing you in because we got our first 1962 laureate portrait. But these last number of rolls have skewed very much into the steel and zinc, and it's slowing down because I have to check a whole lot of them with the magnet to see if I'm getting any of those errors in varieties, particularly the 2003, the 2006, there's a 2005 and a 7. I'm also checking at a 2010, so it keeps me busy with that magnet. Same roll, and we're going to have our second 1962. And you definitely want to check your 62s for that guitar or harp variety where you'll see some lines running down from the 1 here. Neither of these has it, but they are out there. It's a cool variety to find for sure. Roll number 16, we found a last year Canadian penny 2012. This is the last year they produced the penny. And no sooner did they make these last ones than they started pulling all the pennies out of circulation. So that's a really cool one. Very end of that roll, and it almost looked like we had a blank coin here, but when I pick it up, I can see that bird. It's 1 cent from Trinidad and Tobago, 2005, with some toning. This might have been a roll from the same group that our last hunt came from, where we found a whole bunch of Trinidad and Tobago 1 cents. That's awesome. We got a foreign. Well, I think we can call it's official. These rolls definitely came from the last bundle. There's another 1 cent from Trinidad and Tobago, 2003 this time, with that hummingbird. Roll number 19, we're going to have another laureate portrait here. Let's see what we got. It's another 63. So we've got a bunch in the 60s, none from the 50s, no King George VI. We've only got 1.5 rolls to go to see if we can find an older Canadian cent. Same roll, here's a 78 under the scope, and this has a minor deterioration doubling on the base of that 8. If I rotate it around, you can kind of see it. It just persists. It's not a shadow. It's just very slight deterioration. So that's the double 8. Still in that roll, and we're going to get a third Trinidad and Tobago 1 cent. That's just really crazy. This one, let's see what year it is a 2005. I've got a US 1969 here, and it's got some environmental damage and other issues, but when I put it under the scope, there looks like there's something going on here. This could just be damage, but the I and the B, they could be just smushed in, but it looks like there might be some die chip going on or something like that. Let me know what you think in the comments. Is that just damage, or is that some kind of a die chip? I'll take a look and see on the internet if I can find something that matches. Well, it looks like we're going to find a laureate portrait penny, this time with some mint luster still intact. That is great. What is it going to be? It's a beautiful 1964. Excellent. Roll 20, and we've got another one. This time it's a 2009, and it looks to be in a really nice condition. And just a few coins back, we're going to get another one. And I'm surprised I didn't see these by the edges. They're a little bit smaller than pennies, but from the edge, it probably just looks like an older copper cent. This one is an older one. It's a 1994. All right, we got through that 20 roll hunt, and it was a good one. You can see that it's skewed a little bit newer than some of the rolls that we go through sometimes. On the right-hand side is all our zinc and steel. And so these are the Canadian ones here, 2 full cups. And then here's all the US zinc cents that we found as well. On the left is the copper, so not quite as much. Our Canadian copper, and we got 20 some US copper. I pull those aside as well and separate them out. Of our other finds, we did get some foreigns. We got 5 Trinidad and Tobago cents, so we're on a streak with Trinidad and Tobago. A couple of shiny 2021s. Both have some spotting. I'll see. I don't think I have one, so I'll add one to my collection. On the miscellaneous category, we got some 78s and 79s with some doubling, so that's always cool. Our laureate portrait finds, we got a 1960, we got 3 61s, a couple 62s. We checked for the Harper guitar variety. None of these showed the hanging number variety. We got 3 1963s, and we got a couple 1964s, including that really nice one on top. And our other finds, of course, we had 2 wheat cents, and if I can get them to focus, we got 3 wheat cents. We got 2 1944s and a 1955D, and so that is really, really cool. I pulled aside a couple of other shiny cents, a really nice 99 and an 81 that is got more brown on it, so I probably won't tube it up with my BU rolls. It wouldn't really have a place there, but we did get some cool stuff. So I really hope you enjoyed this penny hunt. If you did, please give the video a like and subscribe to my channel if you haven't done that yet. I'd really appreciate it, and you'll know when I've got new videos coming out, and I have new videos coming out all the time. So thank you so much for joining me. We'll see you again next time.